What's up, my people? ¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Welcome, bienvenidos to another episode, otro episodio de Hoy En Día TV. I'm your host and producer, Yessie Rodriguez, on this terrific Thursday. Yes, I'm going to bring on to the stage my amazing co-hosts. We have author, actress, entrepreneur Nadine Barton and Dr. Ciandra, who's also an author, an actress, and an entrepreneur. So, hey, all of us, well, I'm not an author, but you know what I mean, actors and entrepreneurs for sure. Hey, y'all, how's it going? ¿Cómo están? Oh, y'all on mute? Let's see. Oh, we can't hear you, Cece. So, y'all, for y'all watching, before we got on, we started a little late because we were having audio and tech issues, right? So that tells me that this show is going to be really, really dope and juicy. Nadine, let's see. Hopefully your audio is working. Let's see. You're muted. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. We can hear you, but we can't hear Cece. So not sure what's happening there. Now my end, I can't change it for her either.
Settings on your drop down, maybe that will help. Like, try it.
How you been? How you doing since last week?
I'm good. It's nice and sunny here. No rain. Well, a few days ago it did rain.
Okay, well, lucky you. It was raining, earlier today, but it finally calmed itself down. It was gloomy and dreary, though. It's like,
because I think they say we're supposed to be in a drought or something, but then we started getting all these rain, this rain.
We were supposed to be in a drought? Really? I didn't know that.
Because the county always sending out the emails, don't use the water onto the, I don't know, child. I have no idea.
Oh gosh, something's always happening, right? It's like, goodness. So,
no, we still can't hear you. Go down the drop down and turn your volume up. Or unplug the mic if you have a mic in.
Yeah, we're trying to see, we're trying to help Cece troubleshoot her audio. But while she does that, what's interesting is that there's like a lot going on with our food situation here. It's like I feel like our food is being attacked for some reason, right? So there was a recent issue with was it cyclosporiasis or something, where different like leafy greens, veggies, fruits are being affected. But what's interesting is that the contamination is a human type of feces that is very microscopic. And my concern is like, how does human feces get in our fruits and vegetables unless are they purposely being like, what do you call it? Like with the water, are they purposely using like contaminated water? Like that sits in the back of my mind because it's really interesting to me how there's like a large outbreak all of a sudden of this. What are your thoughts about that, Nadine?
I have no idea. That just turned my stomach. Say what now? I mean, are they using that as fertilizer or something? Because
that sits in the back of my mind, to be honest. That's that's like my thought, right? Because I'm gonna look it up now. So cyclosporiasis, and I'm gonna read you the exact definition of what it is, and then you tell me like what a coincidence or how ironic that our fruits and vegetables are being contaminated with cyclospora, aka cyclosporiasis, is an illness.
So it's originated from.
So this is happening pretty much across the nation, to be honest with you.
But there had to be a root to the problem that started somewhere.
Right. That's my point. That is exactly what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to like wrap my brain about where this came from, right? Because individuals who are suffering or deal with this, it's an intestinal infection caused by a microscopic parasite. And people usually contact it by consuming contaminated water or fresh produce, such as lettuce, herbs, berries, and vegetables. It does not normally spread directly from person to person. So that's what I'm saying. Are the fruits and vegetables, like in the back of my mind, that's a question that I ask myself. Are the fruits and vegetables being sprayed and watered with contaminated water? I mean, to me, it's obvious, right? Because some of the symptoms, so whoever's listening, watching, here.
So it said it started in central Mexico.
Did it? Let me go back up. I heard an echo. I don't know where.
Yeah.
I'll bring back.
Yeah, so basically, until Yesi comes back, it said a major 2026 food contamination outbreak involving cyclospora parasite infections were traced to shredded iceberg lettuce supplied by Taylor Farms de Mexico from central Mexico. So the contaminated lettuce was distributed to restaurants, including Taco Bell's, locations across the Midwest states like Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia. So here's
That
my thing, and this is just, I thought, this is just my opinion. I'm not a psychic, I'm nothing. Remember when all those things, were going on with the ICE and, you know, Mexico and, certain personnel? I wonder if this is payback.
Oh, that's a good theory. That is a really good theory. I like that. I see where you're going with this, because that correlates, right? Especially if you're saying that it's deriving, it's this product. These products are coming from Mexico, and a lot of these people are getting sick. And some of the symptoms are pretty bad. So severe gas and bloating, abdominal cramps, nausea, loss of appetite, fatigue, weight loss, occasional vomiting, and even low grade fever. And a lot of symptoms, I mean, technically, this is what's considered a foodborne illness, right? Because you're consuming this food product and you're getting sick from it, which is really sad.
But here's the thing, for like the health nuts that they buy the frozen fruits, and because I have a whole bunch of frozen fruits. Well, I mean, I think I've had them before this came out. I haven't bought any recently. But it says you could get E. coli in the frozen blueberries. Did you know that?
No.
Yes, it says the FDA E. coli blueberries investigation identified Greenwise organic frozen blueberries distributed to Publix across several southern states.
Wow. Wow. That is, yeah, our food is being attacked and it's really sad.
And
Now,
then,
go ahead.
yeah, then you also have the listeria in the soft cheese.
Mm, mm. So we just have to watch out for a lot of stuff. Now, did you hear about this one though? The garlic powder recall in Canada. So the Canadian Food Inspection Agency recalled Heavenly Spices garlic powder because it may contain Bacillus cereus, a bacterium capable of producing food poisoning toxins. So the brand is Heavenly Spices, and consumers should not use, serve, sell, or distribute this product. So something else that we have to be mindful of, this specific product. Also, Midwest poultry egg recall. So as of July 22nd, which was yesterday, 1,589 dozen eggs, which is approximately 19 million individual eggs, due to possible contamination, were recalled because they have salmonella.
Wow. And Cece says she's waiting to get in. I think she's backstage. But that's horrible. I
That
guess we just have to start eating air. Like I said before, we just have to start eating air.
Start eating air. Oh gosh. Hey Cece, welcome back. We don't see you.
Hey there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm on the phone, so can you hear me?
Yes, and it sounds great.
Phenomenal. Yes. Okay. The show must go on. But I've been hearing about you ladies talk about this bacteria, and it sounds like much of the symptoms like gastroenteritis, not sure if you've ever heard or even had that. I've had gastroenteritis, and it's literally mimicking some of the same symptoms where you have the diarrhea and vomiting, the abdominal cramps, all that stuff, because it's contaminated from fecal matter, and typically it's like from doorknobs, anything you touch, right? And somebody didn't wash their hands, and they're touching objects, and then you touch it, and then you're eating, and then it gets transferred that way. And I do believe that there's an attack on our food. I remember when COVID, all the stuff was up and hype about that. They were just saying, because I really believe that the American public people, that we are beta tested on everything, and they're just trying to see how much we can actually tolerate, and what we will fight for or not fight for and speak out about or not, right? Just to kind of like test the people. And I do believe that our food supply is under attack. I believe it's been under attack for many, many years, not just starting now, but for decades. Because we know we have the elites that say, we're overpopulated. And I just disagree with that, because God made the earth. He knew how many people was going to to be in it, at any given time, and it's not overpopulated. Our minds as human beings are finite. And so, when you're trying to control things, you have to bring up these different narratives and things of that nature. Just some tidbits to like help with this whole food outbreak thing, because, it's not on mainstream media now, with the Gulf of Mexico, now Gulf of America, right? But those waters have been contaminated over in Mexico, and it's been going over into the Pacific River for quite some time now. And it's not on the mainstream media. You have to like find this, just with friends and family kind of posting on their social media, because we have friends and family out there, and they talk about, and I think we shared on the show before, we talk about where even the Navy SEALs, they cannot go out into the waters to, train because of all of this contamination and the trash and all the fecal matter, all the things that you're talking about that's now gotten into our food. But just some tips to help people, because when you want to eat your fruits and veggies, right? That's good for our health and everything. But one of the doctors came on and he was saying that we should probably purchase like frozen fruits and veggies and stuff like that to try to decrease, so that we're not contaminated by a lot of these things. And also to get like fruits and veggies that are in like the thick skins, like your oranges, and kiwi and stuff like that, right? Because it's going to have that protective barrier and things of that nature. So that's just something that people can use. The other thing is to get the canned goods, right? Because these things have already been in the cans, and this stuff is more than likely probably not contaminated as of yet, right? Of course, rinsing off all the sodium and all the stuff that comes in to preserve it. But that might be your best and healthier bet right now to avoid getting sick due to the contamination.
But not the frozen things, because you heard what I said about the frozen blueberries?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, E. coli is in the frozen blueberries right now that was distributed. It's under investigation, and Greenwise Organic Frozen, and Greenwise is a broad brand. It says it was identified Greenwise Organic Frozen Blueberries distributed to Publix across several southern states. So the FDA is investigating right now. But I mean, I'm sure they're in the middle of it, or they probably, I'm not sure if they're finished, but it was back in June when it started.
Yeah, our food supply is definitely under attack. Going back to what I was saying about the COVID, they say these conspiracy theorists, right? But a lot of these things are coming to pass, and they were talking about a way to control the people, control the masses. And one is through mass hysteria, right? When it comes to a health outbreak. And so we had COVID. The other thing was through our food contamination, because everybody got to eat, right? So now you see this stuff kind of coming up on the screen. And when I go back and I had watched those videos and hearing what people were saying and all the stuff, the timeline is exactly right as to what they were saying. So it kind of makes me think, not saying I'm a conspiracy theorist, but it's just kind of making me think about a lot of these things. And we as a public, like, we have to speak out. Yessie, we're always talking about advocating and, going to Congress and, all these things. And we got to speak out as a nation, as a people. The U.S. has become just so unhealthy with all these poisonous foods and things as such, that we got to speak out as a people, because now they're allowing all of the fake meat to be sold, in the groceries and stuff. And it's up to the states, I believe, but it's just coming across the board. But like, why would people vote for something so detrimental to human health? Like, you don't know how that's going to affect the population. And I just think truly it's just population control, because the poor people, you can't afford sometimes to get all these things that they say, even the middle class, right? I truly don't believe that there's a middle class. I think it's either poor or rich, right? But it makes it very, very difficult, right, to get these foods. And I can almost guarantee you that the elites are not eating lab created foods. You know what I'm saying? Lab created meat. They're not doing that. They have cows and other animals in nice pastures, open range, doing all the wonderful things that we're supposed to have. And that's not happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, even our animals, the things that they're eating and consuming is really sad, because on packaging, they have grass fed, beef. Well, shouldn't it always be grass fed? Like, what have you been feeding it is the question. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all they eat. They're vegetarians. They don't eat other meat. They don't eat, candy and all. They eat grass. So why do I need to have that on the packaging? Like it's that doesn't make any sense to me. That actually angers me when I see stuff like that.
Because they want to make sure they don't have human fed on there.
Yeah, it's interesting just listening to y'all. It boggles my mind, just everything that we're dealing with, and it's tough, right? We're trying to raise our families. We're trying to do the best that we can, do a day by day. push forward, because life in itself is not easy, right? We, outside of dealing with now these food concerns that we have to now worry about what we're eating, like life sometimes happens, life's right. So I will say this, and I know you all have heard me say time and time and time again, and I'm going to continue to say here at Oyandia, right now there's an opportunity this November for you all to vote. Right, go out and vote during the midterm election. They're approaching. It doesn't matter what state you live in, your vote matters. Even if you feel it doesn't, it does. Okay, midterm elections may not always receive the same attention as the presidential elections, and I've read the numbers in the past shows. It is true. A lot of people don't come out. They don't feel important. But guess what? The midterm elections is what really affects you even more, because it's hitting closer to home. The decisions made during these elections can directly affect your everyday life. Voters may help choose the members of Congress, the governors, state legislatures, the judges, school board members, sheriffs, mayors, county commissioners, and other local leaders. That is how important it is, because you are hitting it close to home, right? These elected officials influence decisions involving the education, healthcare system, public safety, housing, taxes, etc. So I say that to say that please go out and vote, because things like this can be handled firsthand within the state before it gets like an epidemic like we're dealing with now, with all these issues happening, especially with our food being attacked, right? So this November, please, 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 I'm begging you, I'm encouraging you, please make time to vote, because it is very, very important. Any thoughts about that, y'all?
And here's another thing, for other people from other countries to come here and bring their own food, that's sad.
Like Norway? Yeah. That speaks volumes. They know. They don't want to touch our food. They're like, y'all can have that. It is really unfortunate. It's like, I feel like most people, if they can, come together, build your own little community. Like, I don't know, buy a plot of land and like each have the little houses and have a little livestock. Like at this point, that's how we have to do it. We have to come together.
Norway, they have like the nice green pastures and everything, you know, feeding their cows and their chicken healthy food.
I know, yeah. It's interesting, right? What we're dealing with.
And also, did you guys see the video that I shared in the group about they're putting now microchips in the rice?
No, I didn't have a chance to watch it. Tell us about it.
It's I put it in the chat. I don't know if you guys seen it. They're saying that if you go to stores like Chipotle and the other one that they listed, that they're now putting little mini microchips in the rice that's like to track you, trackers.
But wouldn't we poop that out?
That's what some people they were saying in the comments, but I don't know. I don't know if it's a chip that is get embodied in your system and it won't leave. I have no idea. The things you see on the internet, who knows what's true and what's not.
I mean, that is an interesting concept, though, if they created it. I mean, at this point, I'm not even surprised, to be honest with you. I mean, and it makes sense as to why there's a theory that the reason why AI was released is because there's a lot of things that our mind just can't wrap around, that it's truly real and truly exist. But because AI is there, people think it's AI because their brains can't wrap around the fact that it could actually be reality.
And
right?
It could be true too, because if the people are not voluntarily taking it, then they're going to find a way to distribute it to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we know that they have nanotechnology in foods. They were putting it in micro dosing greens and doing all kinds of things to even give you vaccines, right? They were putting the vaccines in our food. So these nano chips and stuff like that, because think about how are you paying with food? Because some people can pay with food now in some countries by just scanning their retinas or, you know, their hands and stuff. And I saw at Whole Foods here in the US, you can pay for it, you know, with your hand. So there has to be something inside of you that's being activated to be able to connect with this technology, right? To be able to do that. It's scary. I know a lot of people think, oh, it's so easy. It's so convenient. Just like they put the chips in dogs and animals and stuff so you can find your pets. And then they were doing this too also in senior citizens years ago, y'all. This is before even like, you know, AI took off the way that it's taking off now. They would put those chips in, you know, to make sure that you could find people and things of that nature. And so Look, it's so sad that we even have to have these kinds of conversations, and to even, just even think that this could possibly be real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let me read the PSA on this video. It says, this is a PSA I am giving out to everyone at various fast food chains across the nation, such as Chipotle and Panda Express. That's the other one. People have been reporting that RFID microchips, which is supposed to be for tracking animals, GPS locations, have been found in their rice. These may have been deliberate attempt by the government to add on an extra layer of surveillance upon the public. All I know is I have a new phobia. So I don't know if you see the video. They show the little thing. I don't know. Yeah, take a look at it when you guys get a chance. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely watch it. All right. Well, let's do this because we have a guest patiently waiting for us. This is some juicy stuff that we have here at Hoy En Día. Every day something happens, right? And so it's something else that you all have to think about. Protect your food, protect yourself. And yeah, we'll be right back with Hoy En Día TV. Don't go anywhere.
Are you looking for the perfect shirt for that special occasion? At Collective Custom Wear, we bring your vision to life. From weddings, family reunions, anniversaries, or casual outing with friends, express yourself with your unique style and leave a memorable mark. Order now. Our custom shirts are designed just for you.
At Cab Zenza, we believe beauty is a ritual, not just a routine. Rooted in intention and inspired by nature, our skincare is crafted to nourish more than just the skin. It nourishes the spirit. Every jar is made with purpose. Because when you flourish inside, it shows on the outside. Cab Zenza's isn't skincare, soul care.
From the moment that I put this Cab Zenza on my skin, it feels most amazing. As you can see, it has your skin glistening, it's moisturizing. You too should get Cab Zenza.
Luxurious body butters.
A bold builder of people, purpose, and platforms, Girls with Gigs helps high performers and those desiring to achieve more shift mindsets and activate purpose. Whether it's career or leadership development, personal branding, or knowing your worth. In the job market, transformation has never been closer because this is where purpose meets action and dreams become destiny. Book your free consultation today at www.girlswithgigs.com.
Yes, book your free consultation today. Find your purpose. Also, invest in your skin as well because it is the largest organ in your body. And I know that you want to look nice and healthy. Also, shirts. There you go. We have custom made shirts. So if you have a business, if you have a wedding, if you have a birthday, whatever the occasion, get your custom made shirts by Collective Custom Wear. So yes. All right. Let me go ahead and introduce our special guest who is patiently waiting behind the scenes. So on today's episode, we welcome back our special guest, Dr. Debora Keller, for part 2 of her powerful and inspiring story. A first-generation scholar from Mayday, Georgia, Dr. Keller's journey is a remarkable testament to perseverance, faith, resilience, and the courage to pursue purpose at every stage of life. After earning her GED in 1989, she spent nearly 3 decades working in food and service management before continuing her service to others as a home aide for veterans and the elderly. Now, let me pause there because food aide, I'm curious to hear her thoughts about this whole food situation that we have going on. So when she comes on, I'm definitely going to have to ask her about that. But in 2017, Dr. Keller began an 8-year higher education journey at Keiser University. The challenges she encountered while transitioning into academia ultimately inspired her to conduct purpose-driven research focused on student preparedness and success. Her doctoral degree work led to the creation of the Keller Pre-Enrollment Preparedness Questionnaire, also known as the KEPEQ. This proactive assessment is designed to help students and post-secondary institutions identify academic readiness, commitment, and potential barriers that may contribute to student attrition. Dr. Keller earned her doctorate in February of this year, 2026, and her dissertation was nominated for this year's award. Yes. Among 439 doctoral graduates, her research was recognized within a select group representing the top 9%. This incredible accomplishment reflects the quality, relevance, and potential impact of her work. She currently serves as a senior research consultant at thornbrook.org alongside Dr. Lewis Rowell, PhD, and tutor students in statistics using Jamavi through newtutorfl.com. During our conversation today, we explore Dr. Keller's inspiring and educational journey and the perseverance that carried her forward. Now for her part two, we're going to take a deeper look at the research behind KEPEQ and the barriers that can affect students' success and how institutions can become more proactive in supporting students before challenges lead them to just walk away, right? So join us today to this meaningful conversation. And without further ado, welcome to Hoy En Día for a part two, Dr. Keller.
Hello. How are you?
Welcome back.
It's good to see you.
Yes, welcome back. And I apologize, y'all. It sounds like we're dealing with an echo again, but we are going to work through it. It's A-okay. So how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. I do have something to add about that with the food thing.
Okay, yeah, please do, because I'm curious to see, especially with your experience in the food and service industry. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, to start off with, I do agree that we are being attacked. I do agree that things kind of went into play, but were planned for the 2020 pandemic thing that happened. I'm reading in this book, and it is off the charts. It is a must read. And the reason why I say that is everything that's in this book is backed up by studies. I don't like books that just say things. I like books that have the power of literature. They say, you can believe it or not, but if you don't believe it, look up this study and read it. That is how you know that what they're saying is true. It's not a stunt. It's not what is it? Theory, crazy theory. No, it's not none of that. It is the real deal. And it is true our food is getting attacked. It is true that we are being made to take, say, vaccines that we maybe or maybe not didn't want to do. This book is a must read. It's by Dr. Brian Ardis. He is at this point, one of the biggest scholars having to do with the pandemic. He has, he's renowned in the things that he knows in the studies that he's been a part of or found either before 2020 and even after. He is, he's as part of the documentary, Watch the Water. I don't know if you've seen or heard anything about that, but it's called Watch the Water. Well, it's been ironic that our water has been tainted, or that our food is being tainted by what? What if it's the water that it's being watered by? Or what if it's the ground that, it could very well be. They say it's human, but I'm not sure. I don't believe anything till I see proof, and I don't read a book without the backup of the study that tells me that they're telling the truth. This book is called Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies, Restoring Health and Hope for Humanity. I won't go into that, but I do encourage anybody who really wants to know about that to read it. And the reason why I say that is because everything that is in this book is backed up by studies, or I wouldn't be promoting it. That's why I say it.
And remind me of the book again, the title?
It's called, I put it in the chat, but it's called Moving Beyond COVID-19 Lies, Restoring Health and Hope for Humanity. Dr. Brian Ardis.
Thank you.
It is something, it will make you stop and do more than think. You'll get a better clarity, as you will know that, and I totally agree in community gardens. You get with 4 or 5 people in your community, you create a garden, and that's your stuff. When I was growing up, I was raised on the garden in the yard, out in our garden, huge garden. We were raised on not farm animals, but like what they caught: deer, rabbit, squirrel. I'm sorry, but that's how I was raised. And fish and fish fries. This is the things that I had Miss Piggy, but Miss Piggy, all of a sudden, I didn't eat bacon for a very long time. That kind of thing. But that's how I was raised. And it seems like after my generation, everybody just forgot. They forgot so many things. And you're reminded in this book so many times about so many things. And it's not just the food. Have you ever noticed the chemtrails in the sky? Some planes have them and some planes don't. If they were needed or they had to be, all planes would have them. But they're not always there. You got to kind of open your eyes and start looking around and seeing that our eyes can get something into our body that we don't want put in our body, but if we open our eyes and we walk outside, it's there. It's just, I'm just telling you that tidbit because you need to know. And the book doesn't cost a lot. It's on Amazon. Yes, there'll be times you'll have to put it down because sometimes the truth is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just it. And so when I don't quite understand something and I run across something that can enlighten me, I don't mind the truth. I can deal with it.
What's the name of the book?
It's called Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lives, Restoring Health and Hope for Humanity. I put it in the chat.
Okay.
It just goes into many different areas. And everything that he says is backs up with studies. So, there it is. But
for sharing that, yeah.
That's why I went and grabbed it, because I was like, this conversation needs to, yes. Because sometimes people just don't want to tell the truth.
Right. No, and I love the fact that you do that extra research, and I feel like more people should be that way, right? It's like, we're going to speak on something, make sure that you do that extra layer of research like you have been, which leads me to that follow-up question for you, especially in your education, with your education, your recent graduation earlier this year, becoming a doctor, PhD student, and then the work that you produced being, awarded and nominated for awards.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that process look like for you? And just maybe a food for thought for fellow students who are undergoing or going through a doctoral program. They're like, oh, what do I do? How do I do this process? What did you do to help you become successful in everything that you've done?
I found something that I was passionate about. And I dug to try to get there. And when I say dug, I mean, you work very, very hard. One thing about all of this is, and this is something we've heard before, and we kind of, I listen, but there's times that I didn't do this. And this is the thing that I had to do. Do your research, know your peoples, know your research, get other research that backs it up, get so much that it helps you to wrap your head around it, because that's how you get there. You become a scholar in a certain specific thing when you're doing dissertation. My dissertation was done from my first week in school, from what happened in my first week in school, when I called them and told them I was too stupid to be there. What had me by the throat? What did that to me? Why did I feel so incapable? What did that? So the main thing for me was figuring that one out. And once I figured that out, then I was able to grab hold of other psychological individual concepts like self-esteem. How persistent is your intent to stay in school? Motivation was what had me by the throat at that time. I've seen it so many times by so many students. After I figured it out, I was able to show my professor, my chair, anybody that ever asked me, what is it about motivation? Why is it so negative? I could say, okay, do you see how so-and-so is acting? You see that they're ready to quit. They're in the middle of dissertation and they're fixing to fall on their face. and they're almost done. That's what it is. I mean, when it grabs you, it doesn't, you can't just get away from it. You have to really pull, and there has to be somebody pulling you from the other end. I had a 6.5 foot chair that was about 300 pounds. So he scared the crap out of me. And he pulled me through, but the thing is that you just have to keep working. And even now, after all of that, you want to get your dissertation in journals. That's what to me, that's the thing. You get, once you get your doctorate, yes, you're published in ProQuest, but to get into real psychological journals, to get into real journals that are about retention and attrition and how that works, and how my study could individually create a way for people to finish and not quit. And the cost of quitting is so much more than a proactive assessment that takes 5 to 7 minutes and a maybe 28-day period where you're helped to gain your self-esteem, to gain your motivation, to be able to gain your level of persistence, or to figure out that maybe that's not where you want to be, or to figure out that maybe that's not the topic you want to go after. Like, 2 psychologists, I've said this before, 2 psychologists are man and wife. They have a child. What's the child supposed to do? Well, the child don't want to be a psychologist. So they go and they take the test. The test says that it doesn't seem like they're very interested in what they've got set out to do. And it's really about mom and dad and what they want for their child. But the child has got a brain of their own. They have intentions of their own. They have aspirations, and they're not inspired by, say, what mom and dad are doing, but they may be inspired by something else. Let them do it, because that's where they're going to succeed. So, I always tell people, the teachers, the professors will say, do what you got to do, and pick this fly-by-night thing. How in the world are you going to pick a fly-by-night thing and work on it for a year and get through? Pick what you're passionate about, so that you can make something of it. When you get done and you get published in ProQuest, it's not over for me. I'm still working with my chair right now to get my paper published, and I'm doing it in retention journals. I'm doing it in attrition journals, where it can be seen, and where it can one day hopefully be brought into a realization, be in schools with 12th graders, be in graduate schools, so that graduate schools can see where their bachelor student is, get them ready to be able to do it. It's very hard. And if you don't ready yourself, it's almost impossible. You have to be willing to step out there and do that thing that Adam did. I mean, that Abraham did when he walked out. He had to walk away from everything that he knew as comfort, and he had to do it and follow the Lord. And it's the same thing. You have to decide this is what you're going to do, set your mind to it, commit to it, and do it. Period. I mean, it's not as easy as that, but you stay committed, you get through it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Those are some really deep, powerful food for thought words. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I know when we had you on the first time, you were sharing, or you started talking about a situation in your life that was a really dark moment for you, or moments in your life. For those who didn't tune in that, last time, would you mind kind of refreshing our brain about that moment in life and how it transitioned from that negative into the positive and the person that you are today?
Okay. Well, in the early 2000s, my husband drank a lot. He was a cop. He was a veteran. I loved him dearly, but he wouldn't quit drinking, and I hated the drinking. I hated the person that it made him. It changed the person that he actually was to a person that I didn't want the kids around. I didn't want me. It was really hard. So I decided, because I still had my home on my family's place before we got married, I decided I would move back into my home because I wanted to quit drinking. And it wasn't about getting divorced. It was, I wanted to come to quit drinking. And I thought that maybe, this would open his eyes. Well, about when dealing with this, I hadn't came to any real decision. And on a Sunday night, I had this nightmare. And the nightmare was that death was chasing me. It was very, very real. I could write a book on this nightmare. It was about, I was going to see a movie, and I went to my job and I asked anybody if they wanted to go, and nobody wanted to go. So I went by myself. I go into the movie theater, and I really didn't think much of the fact that nobody was in there, but I just sat down and started watching the movie. And it was about two guys that steal Satan's car. Now, this car was a roadster, like Cruella de Vil car. And it was red with yellow flames down it. And he was bald with a spider web on his head, and he was built like Mr. Clean. So anyway, these two guys get in the car and they steal it. And they were at a silver dollar diner. And they could see he was still inside. So they get in there and they hotwire the car and they steal it. And he runs out there screaming and hollering, and then just stops and crosses his arms like Mr. Clean does, and went to laughing. Okay, these guys are a little freaked out because they just got away with stealing somebody's car that's kind of scary looking. And they go about 2 or 3 states away, or get as far as they can, and they stop and they get a room and they go to bed. Well, when they wake up, the car, everything in the car is exactly where it's supposed to be, but it's a different car. It's a Blue Regal. And every single time they walk away or they go to sleep, it changes to a Ranger. One time it's a limo. I mean, it would change every single time they went to sleep. During the movie, they meet 2 girls, and both of them get the girls pregnant during this movie as the movie's going along. And one goes into labor. And so they go and they get a room as far from everybody else as they can. And she just wouldn't be quiet, and they were afraid of what was going to happen. So there was a meaner one and a not so mean one as far as the guys. The one that was in labor was the not so mean one's girlfriend. So the bad guy looks at him and said, I can't take it anymore. Something's got to happen. He's fixing to go out the door to kill her. About that time, the other girl goes into labor. And while I'm watching this movie, a fly goes to buzzing around me. We don't like flies, and I'm swatting at this fly. And then about a minute later, as he's going out the door, the fly is in the movie, and he's swatting at it. Then he looks directly at me as if he could see me. And it scared me so bad, because he was fixing to go kill this pregnant woman that was in labor. It scared me so bad that I was out of that bed and running. And when I woke up, it was because death caught me, and it was my husband. And the next day I told him that I wanted to leave. And he tried to tell me that if I did, he would plant something on me. He was a cop. And that I really just didn't have any choice at that point. I was scared to death. I was truly scared, really scared. And for about 2 weeks that went on. And when, next Sunday week, 2 weeks later, he looks at me and he's about drunk, and he says, if you want to leave, you can leave. I called my sister. I didn't worry about I got my clothes. I didn't care about anything else. I got my kids' stuff. I didn't care about anything else. And we got out of there. And the next week was really hard because I just wanted him to quit drinking, but he changed into a person that I didn't know. And one day he would be telling me that things weren't good and trying to get me to talk to him, and I just didn't want to talk to him because he was drunk. And then the next day he would say, he told me that his parents were going to pay for the divorce. And I was like, oh, we're getting divorced. Really? Okay. Well, I guess now I know. Then the next day, it was something that seemed like every day. By Friday night, I hadn't got to see any of my girlfriends since being married at all. And a really good friend of mine, one that I'm writing a book with right now, wanted me to come see her. And she had a daughter that was older than my son, but they were all really close, like in age. So anyway, I went over there, and I had to, at the time I was really scared. So I had my kids 30 miles apart. One was at one spot, one was in another spot. Nobody knew where they were, and that kept them safe. So I went to my friend's house, and she begged me to stay the night. She was like, I know you've gotten your place cleaned and all, but you don't have a bed. You don't have anything. Why don't you just stay with me now? Well, usually my schedule was like, I was off on Sundays and Mondays, but I had somebody working for me the following day, which was a Saturday, because of my fear of what this person, my husband, was putting me through. And at the same time, I had traded cars with my sister, and he didn't know my sister's car because he was following me everywhere I went. It was terrible. It was scary. And it escalated because of that. I mean, he went to asking friends of mine, it was crazy. And so I stayed that night. And this was the very first night I ever owned a Nokia phone. You know how we had car phones? I don't know if y'all know that, but before any actual handheld phone, it was car phones. And then it went from car phones to that Nokia looking thing. It looked like a walkie-talkie kind of. Okay, so I traded in my car phone for a Nokia, and that was the very first night I had it. I went to sleep, and when I woke up, the phone was ringing, and I answered it. My sister, she was crying. She was like, "You're alive, you're alive." I was like, "Yeah, I'm alive. What's wrong?" He's at your house, and he's taking his life. He turns out that he had broke into my house, got a hold of my son's gun, and instead of putting 1 bullet or 8 bullets, or it would hold that many in the chamber, he put 4 bullets in the gun. He set a chair right by the door, and he sat there and waited for us to come in. He was going to take us as soon as we walked in the door, and he was going to take himself. And I know that because you don't take 4 bullets. It doesn't take a rocket science, to figure out that somebody was sitting there waiting for you for a reason. He had the keys to my restaurant in his hand. So yeah, that is exactly what he was going to do. And the Lord saved me from that. And it was very hard, extremely hard at the time, because we're talking about somebody that was trying to kill you. And so, no, my children and I didn't attend the funeral, and we were looked down on for it, but I don't care. I really wasn't worried too much about who thought. They did the 3-gun salute for him like he was killed on, in the line of duty or something. I really don't know why all that took place. I just know that it was what it was, and very hard. And that year, when the kids started school, they were removed from school, 5 different schools, because if anybody found out about that, what they went through. Kids are cruel, and I didn't put up with that a minute. I took them, put them in another school because of that, but they still passed because they're strong. And it was a really hard time. It was a really hard time, but it did push me to, it didn't push me to want to be with a man at all for a very, very long time. Very, very long time, like 10 years. And the reason why was because after that was just kind of like a side effect, I guess you would say, of that. And so I went probably close to 10 years without dating. When I read on social media, when it says, what is a woman who is not got a husband, I'm like, very smart. Sorry. She's very smart. She's capable of doing her own thing. Some people call it negative. I don't, because sometimes there's reasoning behind that why they're not with somebody like me. And so I don't look at anybody that way. I'm like, if they're capable and they're happy, more power to them. Your happiness comes from inside you. It don't come anywhere else. If you're not happy, it has to do with you. And, so, that went, my house, we bought a house it was probably about 2001, and it wasn't the greatest, but for me, it was great. It was the first house I ever owned. Like, I was in a trailer. And because of what all had happened in Mayday at my place, my grandma told me that I couldn't stay there, even though the property was mine. They were just, bothered by it. That was the best thing she could have ever done for me, because I was raised in a family that they were hippies. It wasn't a childhood. It was more like a mess. But it was the best thing she ever done for me, even though it sounds harsh. I ended up finding a home and raising my kids. And in 2009, my daughter was 14. My son was 18. And the house burned down. Hot water heater. And so we lost everything except for what was in the dryer. That's what I always tell people. Well, did you have anything in the dryer? Because that's the only thing we had. It was horrible. We had to live in a motel for like 6 or 8 months before I could finally get the insurance company that I'd been paying forever, house insurance, to pay off, pay off. They make you pay your house payment and your insurance payment and everything. Even though your house is gone, you still have to pay that. If you don't, they'll drop you and then you don't get anything. It took me almost, I think it was like 7 months before we were able to relocate. So, it took a long time. And I used the money to try to open my own restaurant. And this is terrible, but my grandmother wanted me to use my family, and my family ended up robbing me blind. I hate to say it, but the only one that wasn't a part of it was my sister, who's Jay's mother. She was in school being in criminal justice. She was doing something else. But everybody else that I tried to get as employees or help, they robbed me blind. I ended up losing everything. Well, during that time is when I met Marlon. And this is where I've been ever since. And I lost everything. And I really didn't. I knew him and we were dating and we were serious, but we weren't living together. And when I lost everything, he just looked at me and said, "Come on, let's go home." And I've been in Jacksonville ever since. So, something happens, and God's always got something for you. You just have to hold your breath and hold on and wait until that happens. Because if you're not anxiously waiting, it's not going to happen because you're not believing in that. 2017, 18 is when I started school. I started school. Like I said, it was seriously tough. It was so scary. When I went to school, there was a 35-pound typewriter that did not plug up. I've typed 3 keyboards with to no letters where I had to get another keyboard because I'm such a hard typer. My son says, "You type like an old lady." But it's because we were made to learn on a manual typewriter. There was no computer involved. Word was just a word. It wasn't about a processor. I get into school, and once I get through what I call math hell, I got to go into English Comp 101, where you have to write a thesis, your first thesis. And I thought I was going to write it, but cursive wasn't even allowed anymore. Now cursive has come back, but then it was like, oh no, you're going into do it. You have to do it on the computer. And I'm like, I had to learn tech to be able to learn the work. So it was kind of, figure it out or drowned. So that's what I did. And one of my first theses was on the 2018, and it's kind of funny how 1918 flu like to killed 500,000 people in America, and then go 100 years, and I think it was around 50,000 died of the COVID. It wasn't COVID. It was bird flu, H1N1, and then H2N3, and that was it was the bird flu, and it was a pig swine flu. And so the thing is that when I was doing the research on it, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And after Thanksgiving, birds, turkey, it completely redded out the United States map. And so I was like, went to my professor, and he was like, "Just stop right now where you're at and don't talk about what's next, because what's after red." There wasn't anything after red. It was so bad that that was why I did the paper. The total reason why I did the paper, because I just didn't quite understand the whole thing, and it did educate me a lot. The E. coli thing, to me, my own opinion, it's a setup. You know,
Yeah,
it's kind of funny that Taco Bell's the only one.
Yeah, why are they spotlighting Taco Bell? Like what?
Exactly.
And I feel like for some reason I looked like when I looked at historical Taco Bell affiliations, they're quick to point out Taco Bell. So obviously Taco Bell is doing something right if they're quick to spotlight them in a negative light. So we gotta look more, we're gonna do some more research on Taco Bell. But I'm going to spotlight Nadine because I'm sure she has some follow-up questions. And thank you so much for sharing that deep story. Like, wow, that sounds like a really tough journey that you went through. I was playing it in my head as you were sharing it. And I'm like, oh gosh, that's tough. Nadine?
Welcome back, Dr. Keller. I don't even know what to say because you're the true definition of, you have to use your pain to position your purpose. That's just amazing.
Just remember this, the blessings always come when you are suffering. The blessings always come when you are suffering.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, this is a lot to take in. And how are the kids doing now?
My son lives in Texas. He's doing great. He's my rock. I couldn't ask for any better where he's concerned. And I love my daughter. But 2020 was rough on everybody. 2020 was rough on me and my family because that's when fentanyl took my daughter, and she has been battling that ever since. And it is as horrific as you could ever hear, and as hard as you could ever know to deal with something that you can't fix and you can't help them, because even if she wanted help, I couldn't help her. I could get her to the rehab, but I couldn't help her myself as a psychologist because I'm her mother. I'm too close, and it's very hard because even though she admitted that she has problems, she refuses, and it scares me because I've got friends I've got friends whose daughters and son that got addicted made it and went through rehab and they're doing well. And I've got friends who lost their daughter. They're just as close to me as the other. And so one thing I have to look at, and that's the statistics, because I'm a numbers person, 20%. And it don't matter what therapy. There's all kinds of therapy. There's even the therapy where they try to re-level out the types of hormones or say endorphins that they try to make that where it was before somebody started using. I don't know how. I've read the studies, but the one thing that I have seen over and over and over again is only 20%. And almost every time they fall off the wagon once or twice before that. Very small amount of people actually make it. Other ones, I mean, yes, I have to say that there's a predisposition there because every person that I knew in my dad's side of the family died of overdose. So yes, it pushed me away, and no, I didn't do those kind of things. My kids never saw me anything, not even drunk, but that predisposition was there. And you get to that one question that changes your life one way or the other. She made the wrong decision. And it's cost me my grandchildren. That really hurts because those two they meant the world to me. And they still do. It's just that now their adopted parents have decided that I'm bad too. And I think what they're just trying to do is cut ties. I don't think that's the best idea as a psychologist. I think that it takes a community, you can't keep them enclosed. You can't shelter them. Taking away the people that were their constant, that was always there for them. I don't know about that, but I can say that it has broken me. I didn't want to believe it, but in between the last time I was on and now, I know that they are completely trying to say that it's just crazy. I know what I am, and I know what I did for those kids, and I know that we were the safety net that caught them every single time except the last time. And the last time, the reason why the lady that is now married to her husband that got the kids, the kid's dad's sister or half sister, she's the one that adopted him. And I can't say I wasn't for it, because the kids deserved better. I love my daughter, but those kids deserved parents that cared about them, that did not put those kind of things in front of their children, in front of everything. Those kids went without for so long. So I can't say that I wasn't, I would have willing to do anything for them, because I thought they were good people. But when they called me out and tried to tell me that I had mistreated those kids, when I knew that we were nothing ever but the safety net, when from 2020 until I think it was about a year and a half ago, I was the person that got those kids every single time they went to jail. And I can't tell you how many times they went to jail, because it was a lot. It was a lot. It was anyway, that's been kind of tough to chew.
Yeah.
And I'm dealing with this. It's a day-to-day process.
Right. I mean, those things are going to take time, and I'm so sorry that you're going through that. Any parent would be hurting, and I'm sure your story, somebody out there can relate, so I'm sorry to hear that you're going through that.
It's tough. It's really tough, because I don't want to lose my daughter. And I have done everything I can do to try to help her. But the bottom line is this: when you're dealing with somebody that is in addiction, until they actually reach out for help, and even then, we're human. So, 20%, it's a small number, and it scares me. And my daughter was a beautiful girl. She was a beautiful girl, but fentanyl doesn't only kill you, it kills you slow. And what the person that you knew, if any of you have ever seen somebody who was just beautiful, and then this happens to them, it is unbelievable. She's not recognizable. I do know that God could restore her. I do know that God could take care of her. I do know that God could lift her up with his pinky finger now and get her through it. All she would have to do is lift her hand for help.
Right.
But until she does, no.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Dr. Keller. I know that's tough, and my heart goes out to you and your family, because that's just listening to everything that you've gone through for a long time now. It's been rough. Like, you've had a rough road. But what I do know and I see is that you're such a powerful, strong, go-getter woman. You have overcome so many obstacles in your life, and you're going to continue to do that, and because you know that God has you covered. And so that's just, wow. Yeah, you're a true warrior for sure.
I kind of look at it like this: God gives us all gifts. Don't waste them, and always give him the glory before, during, and after, because he's got something in store. I don't know what it is, but I do know he's got something in store. I wasn't this smart in 89, and I don't know. God gave these gifts to me. I don't know what he wants me to use them for, but I've been seeing things. If you open your eyes, you will see things. And the main thing I'm seeing is, don't be silent. Talk about it. Bring it out. Tell the truth. Nobody wants to hear the truth anymore. That is the truth. I mean, that's the reason why this book is so telling. If it was just a book, I would never have brought it up. But the reason why I bring it up is because everything that he says is backed up by literature. And with some of it, it's a prenup. Have any of you ever seen, it's a Netflix series called The Blacklist?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay. The main character on the Blacklist gets poisoned in the show by something called a kite snake, and it only originates from China. in the show. I don't know if y'all saw that episode, but also The Simpsons is another one. But if you want to see even South Park, these shows are, I truly believe there's something in these shows, because how is it that Bart Simpson knew about the pandemic before the pandemic? How is it that in 16, when the Blacklist came out and the main character got poisoned by the Christ snake, read the book and it will help you to better understand. But the thing is that they were looking for ways to be able to reverse, the venomous bite. They ended up going to the Amazon and finding out how you would do it, say, if you didn't have pharmaceuticals. And then pharma brings it back, and then they try to create it in a synthetic way. And then the FDA says that we can no longer have these things. We can no longer grow these plants. We can, and he backs it up with literature. Everything that there's a study, you can go look at it and see, and it's crazy. I mean, it gets down there, and it's not conspiracy, it's real. But it'll make you want to put it down for a minute and just think, because I've had to put it down several times. And a very good friend of mine went through the exact same thing he went through in the first 2 chapters. He loses his father-in-law to what they called COVID, but he never had COVID. So it was really hard for him. And this is the reason why this person that had retired as a chiropractor came out of leaving work, came out of that and came back into it and went into the books. And I mean, he became a renowned expert in COVID and where it came from, how it happened, origins, you name it, he knew it. And it was from the literature. It was already there before 2020. It's just that nobody knew to look. And that's why when I say do your research, it's that the truth is out there. It's just that it isn't talked about on the TV. And unless you're searching for the truth on your phone, it may not be talked about on your phone. I don't have TikTok, and there's a lot of things on TikTok that are out there. The Watch the Water documentary, he was a big part of that. He also has his own show called the Brian Adaris Show. This guy's been everywhere. And the thing is that I didn't know him at all. I just seen the book and was reading the book. And I've had 4 or 5 people say, where'd you get the book? And I'm like, if you're ready for it, the thing is that he backs up everything, and that's the best part. You don't have to, you don't have to wonder if what he's saying is true, because
he provides the evidence. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Cece, did you have any questions for Dr. Keller?
There's so many questions, but I know our time is about up. So I got to bring you back for part 3, 4, and 5, Dr. Keller. It's so amazing. So amazing.
I want to have this after y'all have read the book. Holy cow. Ooh.
Want to be on a book club here on Hoy En Día, right?
I'm going to have to do the audio.
I'm serious. I'm so serious. I mean, the thing is, like I said, it's not just a book. He backs it up with so much literature. So after reading it, I am very sure that every one of us will be on the same page about certain things, and the community garden and the community cow, because you're right about that. When you know where your food's coming from, you're a whole lot better off. Yes, I ate things that they killed in the woods. We ate a lot of deer meat, a lot of quail, squirrel, rabbit, you name it, but we didn't have to worry about getting poisoned. And we had a freezers full of every vegetable you wanted, because it was grown in the yard, and not like in the yard, like in a huge garden. And it was canned. Canned is not as, say, good for you than as glass was. We use mason jars. My grandmother taught me how to do all of that, and I'm so glad she did, because that's the way to go these days. The thing about the blueberries, if you go by a blueberry tree, you don't have to worry about where the blueberries come from. You know where they come from. And I'll tell you something else. Farmers market. The farmers market, to me, is the best produce. And the reason why is because they picked it that day. Especially in Florida. They picked it that day. So you know what you're getting. And I use the farmers market for all my stuff like that anymore. I don't mess around with. They can freeze E. coli too. There's some of these diseases or some of these sicknesses, and it's all about a parasite. Let's get real. It's about a parasite. And I was reading today about something. You know, we give our dogs HeartGard to keep them from getting heartworms. Heartworms is the worm that you get in your intestines when you're a kid. So why aren't we? It was called ivermectin when I was a kid every year. You know, I don't know about y'all because y'all are younger, but it's
Well,
just
no, I'm
these things
definitely
that have been
familiar.
forgotten.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with the ivermectin, not as a child, but like as when COVID happened, because you
Mhm.
know
Yes.
doctors and hospitals, they were following these protocols, and when you
Oh
went against the
gosh.
grain, they wouldn't give you the meds that you needed to fight against the COVID.
Yes.
And so ivermectin,
Mhm.
which they give to horses and all this stuff. So we were doing independent research in our little homesteading group, that I have here in my community, and we were all coming together to see what we could do to, help keep our family safe, and natural things that we could use, because we were we were turned away from hospitals actually,
Mhm.
because we didn't get the jab. We had to have
We didn't
secret language.
either.
It was all crazy,
We didn't.
right? And so the ivermectin was something that we learned about. So when your back's against the wall, the thing with human beings, and we're resilient, and we will figure out a way.
Exactly.
Right?
We ended up
Exactly.
going to Atlanta, not going to, but getting in touch with a doctor in Atlanta who was helping people under the table. And we ended up with the hydrochloroquine, with the ivermectin.
Yes.
We ended up with everything we needed to get well. However, there are some people that have something called long-lasting COVID symptoms, where the symptoms don't go away. It took me 6 months to get my smell and taste back. Read the book, you'll figure it out. It will tell you exactly why. But there's certain things that are in our body that people doesn't, until you realize that there are certain things in the world, like we're made of minerals, we're made of vitamins, we're made of certain things that we don't always realize because of being what I called groomed into thinking a certain way. Okay, you get groomed into thinking that something is bad long enough, whether it's bad or not, you believe it's bad. So he's not trying to change people's minds. What he tried to do in the book is enlighten you to the truth, and gave you every source that you needed to be able to get what you needed, and to keep what you needed, and to get safe. And a lot of anybody who actually took the jab, there's certain problems that people are having, like enlarged hearts. I've definitely seen the bad part of that, and that's really bad. It's kind of like killing you slow. It's called spike proteins. These spike proteins this was planned. Okay.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely. And with the spike proteins, there are natural ways to get that out of your body as
Yes, there
well.
is.
So yeah, so we've done a lot of it, and that I haven't read his book, but I've read other books like it with other, researchers that are out there, giving the information for us to be able, because we were like heavily into it, and we're of the mindset of like living off the grid. That's like the total and ultimate goal
Yes.
for my family. Right.
I get
And
it.
to be able to provide, and the canning that you're talking about, learn how to do that, like with the veggies and even the meats and all that stuff. Like just getting little things, little bit by little bit, to just be able to set ourselves up, because it's gonna come to that, and you got to prepare yourself beforehand.
Yes, you do.
Yes,
Yes, you do. It's like I never heard the word narrative or agenda until 2020. I don't know about y'all, but I had never heard those words. I don't know where they come from. It's like, okay, me and my friends are working on a book right now about this, because she went through a similar experience as he did when he first started. And it's funny you would mention the word, but protocol is part of the title, which is actually the big letters of the title, because of what happened to her dad, because of the hospital protocol, because of the way he died. Protocol.
Wow.
Wow. A microscope, like seriously. And every single piece of fruits or vegetables that I buy, I'm putting it on there. I'm getting one. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, but you should. Hey, you could fill us in on some things that are happening. We're having such a juicy conversation. I know we're over time, so it sounds like we're going to more than likely have to bring you back for part 3, Dr. Keller.
I want y'all to read this book.
Well, I'll be honest, reading for me is a little challenging because of my busy schedule, but I'll probably do an audiobook version where I can listen to it.
You'll stop and say, oh, God. I mean, there was going to be so many times that you're going to be like,
Mm-hmm.
wow. Yeah, it pushed me. Right now, I've got strawberries in the yard, cantaloupes in the yard, tomatoes in the yard, and pretty much everything that has a seed. Remember this is biblical. You don't eat it if it don't have a seed. Okay? A seedless watermelon is a man-made thing. Mm-hmm. A watermelon with black seeds is what you want. Don't eat it if it doesn't have a seed, because that means it's been messed with. Even the grapes.
Exactly. It's hard to even find seeded grapes, you know.
Oh, I do. I find them I go to the farmer's market, and the seed itself is better for you than the grape. So the same thing goes with lemons, the rind, pineapples. You boil them. I make a tea out of it. There's so many things, but the book will enlighten you, and then I can help you along a lot with a lot of other things that I have been working on a lot lately. But I've been doing the pineapple tea for a very long time, and it's got some serious health benefits to it. It's at a micro level. When you're doing something for yourself at the micro level, it comes out in a big way. There's he actually gives you the things, and I know that Cassandra, the activist, I know you know this, so I know you know some of these things. But think about things like turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, just things that you've got in your house that we used to cook with. Turns out that those are the things that we could stay well with. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my honey always does those types of teas, and he adds all that stuff: ginger, turmeric, black seed oil, bladderwrack, everything, the whole thing.
Yes.
Those teas are pretty tasty, actually, too. What he makes. Mm-hmm. I agree with you for sure. But let's do this. Let's we're gonna, if you're interested later on, it'll be more probably toward the fall or winter. Mm-hmm. We can bring you on for part 3, and hopefully at that point, Nadine, Cece, and I would have had a chance to either listen to it or read the book that you were referring to. Then we can continue on this amazing conversation, because I'm sure Cece had a lot of other questions that she didn't have a chance to ask today. But because of time just literally slipped by like that, right? Like water. It just went.
It does. I tell you. Mm-hmm. These are some great topics. Seriously, some serious great topics, and I believe that people should. I do hope that people take the time to listen to this one, because this one matters. Because 2030 is coming, and there's another agenda.
Absolutely, they've already put it out. We know what's coming. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just the scary part. Oh gosh. I mean,
try not to be scared. Just look at it like this. God's got you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think for me, the more scary part is for people who still have the doubts that God's got them, right? They're going to be the ones that are.
I really just hate that for them. They need to get that straight. I'm not perfect. I don't walk on water or anything. I probably sin I sin every day somewhere, but I try my best, and that's all he wants. He just wants us to look to him before, during, and after.
Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and transition over to our last minute words. And this is an opportunity for each and every one of us to say who we are, what we do, if we have a quote, last minute words, how people can find us, follow us, etc. And to lead the way, I'm going to have Cece start us off, followed by Nadine, Dr. Keller, you'll go third, and I'll close out the show.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, hey, I'm your girl, Andrew, the Actionist with Inspire for Purpose and Girls with Gig, where we help empower, equip, and help you execute your mission right in life. So just helping you putting A and B together to get to Z eventually, right? So remember this, the greatest victory is not conquering others. It is simply mastering yourself under God's guidance. As always, love and light and inspire for purpose. You can find me at www.girlswithgigs.com or inspireforpurpose.com.
Hey guys, Nadine here again, Nadine Barton. So like I always say, every dream has an entry fee. Make a decision. And you could find me on Instagram at Nadine Barton, or my website if you need any of my books, nadinebarton.com. And you guys have a great day.
My name is Dr. Debora Keller. I am a psychologist. I can be found on LinkedIn. I can be found on my website called nowtutorfl.com. What I want people to know that are in school and are struggling is that one day your last dissertation chapter won't matter. Your last statistic table won't matter. What you will remember is the moment you proved to yourself that you could do something incredibly difficult and refuse to give up. A doctorate changes what you know. A doctorate doesn't change what you know. But more importantly, I believe that the struggle is where the doctorate comes from, period. And you, after that master's, same goes for you. I know you're going to make it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Another amazing show. See, this is why we were always having audio issues, because our show today was pretty deep. We talked about some really deep topic, especially just the attack on, I feel like, humanity as a whole at this point, right? Our foods and vaccines and just everything. And even the inspiring and heartbreaking also story that Dr. Keller shared. Again, thank you, Dr. Keller, for sharing that. Like, just walking through your journey, listening to you. I felt the emotion too, like putting myself in your shoes. That was tough, just listening, all that you've gone through. But I'm really glad that you and your family were able to survive and pull through that. And now dealing with the new chapter that you shared earlier. My prayers and thoughts go out to you and your family, especially to your daughter, because she will overcome this. She is strong, and she has a mom like you. Oh, she knows that she's going to come out beautifully. God's gonna bring her out. So, but for those who want to find me and follow me, my name is Yessie Rodriguez. You can go on Google, type in Yessie Rodriguez. You can go on my website, yessierodriguez.com. I'm going to sponsor Spotlight 2 more, so please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Hoy En Día TV.
Sponsored by Collective Wear, available at www.yessierodriguez.com/shop and myrod-enterprise.com/shop.
Sponsored by Divine Beauty and Accessories. Watch Hoy En Día TV, Thursdays, 7:30 p.m. Yes, and if you missed today's episode, reruns happen Sundays, 7:30 p.m. Also, this live video is available on Facebook. You can also catch us on, let's see, we have Apple Music, Spotify, Samsung Music, a lot of other platforms. So keep it simple. Just go on my website, yessierodriguez.com. On the upper left-hand side, there's a drop-down, select Hoy En Día. That page will give you all the other pages that you can find us, listen to us, etc. Because we do have a lot of deep topics here. This is about life. It's about lifestyle. All the ups and downs, the good, the bad. The lesson here is this: how do you turn that negative situation into a positive? How do you pull yourself up? Because life is not easy, and we understand that. And that's why Hoy En Día is here to positively motivate, educate, inspire, enlighten, and entertain you, the viewer and listener, with each and every episode. I know we did that today. Also, a friendly reminder, August 22nd, We Don't Wait, We Create Part 2 is coming back. So, hey, we would love to see you there. I'm one of the panel speakers, so I mean, hey, come on now, hang out with us, right? Also, we have Slay the Scene Academy for those who want to take their acting seriously. Beginner actors, come on. If you don't know where to start, I will help you out. So go on my website, yessierodriguez.com, and just select Slay the Scene Academy. You can register there. Also, I was also invited to a women's empowerment conference in October. More details to come. That's happening October 4th at the Durham Armory. So more details to come on that, but hopefully you all can come out. It's about inspiring women, especially mothers, because we get it. Being a mom is tough. So, but nevertheless, thank you all for tuning into another amazing episode of Hoy En Día TV. We wish you a beautiful night. Until next time, Dios lo bendiga. Cuídate.